Hello, my sweet summer children. I'm back with the juice to get you through the long night. In Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 2, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, things went down. I've already done a complete episode breakdown on the episode, and you can find that on my channel, but I want to talk about the huge implication of Jenny's song, Brienne being knighted, the echoes of Summerhall. I mean, there's just so much to talk about. There's so many Easter eggs. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Need to build a website? Go to squarespace.com/grayarea. If you've been following me for some time, then you know that I'm a huge fan of the Tales of Dunk and Egg. Literally, I have Dunk's shield on a shirt. I have his shield on a shelf. My cat's name is Egg. And I did the cover of Jenny's song on Twitter back in January, so you can listen to that if you want. So, yeah, this is my jam. This is my jam. This is my ish. If you want to know all the details, all of the hidden meanings and secret clues, you've came to the right place. During this entire sequence of Brienne being knighted and Jenny's song, I was literally like, let's start with the knighting of Brienne of Tarth. The whole scene is beautiful. I'm probably going to say that like 100 times. Brienne is knighted by Sir Jaime Lannister. So should Brienne join the King's Guard or Queen's Guard, whatever it's going to be, the first page will read, knighted by Sir Jaime Lannister before the Battle of Winterfell, or whatever they're going to be calling the Battle of Winterfell. Brienne is the most honorable knight in the story. Even Davos has a certain admiration in his eyes for Brienne. Brienne is the woman who killed Stannis, the man who raised Davos so high. Even Tormund is overjoyed for Brienne. Like, he doesn't even know what the hell this is, but he's just so overjoyed and he's clapping. The knighting being done by Jaime is like the exclamation point on the entire thing. But one of the highlights before we get into the Easter eggs is that Tormund is appalled that the big woman isn't already a knight. And the reason she isn't one is because she's a woman. So Tormund says, fuck tradition. And I feel like that's just the theme that needs to happen. Tradition is old, boring, and broken. It's not working for Westeros. Tradition has us in this steaming, stinking heap of shit that we are in right now. Bloody traditions. So Brienne becomes the first woman ever knighted in Westeros. The first Sir Brienne of Tarth. So there is a lot of things going on here. Brienne, first of all, is in love with Jaime Lannister. She's in love with him. Same as she was with Renly. Jaime knighting Brienne echoes back to Renly. Renly added Brienne to his Kingsguard. She wasn't Sir Brienne. She wasn't knighted. She was just Brienne of the Kingsguard. But Jaime has actually knighted her against tradition. Again, fuck tradition. And Brienne is just as much in love with Jaime as she was with Renly. Brienne would die before she let a shadow baby kill Jaime. I'm just saying. But Jaime calls Brienne a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. This is the title of the Tales of Dunk and Egg. So the Tales of Dunk and Egg follow Dunk, Sir Duncan the Tall, and Egg, Aegon Targaryen, fifth of his name, Jon's great-great-grandfather, as they travel through Westeros on different adventures. Those books aren't completed yet either, just FYI. So George R.R. Martin has confirmed that Brienne is indeed a descendant of Sir Duncan the Tall. In the books, she remembers a shield that was in the armory of Tarth, and it was Sir Duncan's shield. And in the books, she gets her shield painted like Sir Duncan's while she's traveling through the Riverlands looking for Sansa. Brienne's character is a lot like Sir Duncan. Sir Duncan is known as an honorable knight, the most honorable knight. Aegon, aka Egg, was Sir Duncan the Tall's squire, and the sentiment is echoed between Brienne and Podrick. The scary part of all of this is the Tales of Dunk and Egg will eventually end at Summerhall. There are some huge implications here. First of all, we have to look at the common theme in Game of Thrones. History repeats. So no one truly knows exactly what happened at Summerhall. With much of the things in Westeros, it's a mystery. It's heavily implied that Aegon the Unlikely Egg tried to hatch dragons with wildfire. Summerhall was the Targaryens' summer castle, their Malibu Barbie beach house. So Egg is king, and he goes to hatch dragon eggs with wildfire, and it's a disaster, and almost all of House Targaryen is eradicated. So Almost all of House Targaryen had gathered at Summerhall for the birth of Rhaegar Targaryen. Rhaella was heavy with child. All we know of Summerhall is that it was consumed by wildfire, and Rhaegar was born amongst all of this going down, and House Targaryen was almost wiped out. It is unfortunate that the tragedy that transpired at Summerhall left very few witnesses alive, and those who survived would not speak of it. A tantalizing page of Gwydionn's history, surely one of the very last written before his own death, hints at much, but the ink that was spilled over it in some mishap blotted out too much. The blood of the dragon gathered in one, 7 eggs to honor the 7 gods. Though the king's own septon had warned, pyromancers, wildfire, flames grew out of control, towering, burned so hot that died, but for the valor of the Lord Command. This blotted out ink means that the valor of the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard saved someone's life. The Lord Commander of the Kingsguard was Sir Duncan the Tall. During the tragedy of Summerhall, Rhaegar is born amongst the flames. This led him to believe that he was the prince who was promised. Aerys lived, and Rhaella lived, the ghost of Highheart lived, but it is implied that Jenny of Oldstones and the Prince of Dragonflies, King Aegon, Sir Duncan the Tall, and others died, consumed by wildfire. So before we get into what that means specifically, let me tell you about Jenny. The song that Podrick is singing is Jenny's song. Jenny of Oldstones with flowers in her hair. Jenny of Oldstones was a hippie from the Riverlands who claimed to descend from the First Men. The song Podrick is singing is Jenny's song. Jenny of Oldstones with the flowers in her hair. Jenny of Oldstones was a hippie from the Riverlands who claimed to descend from the First Men. Though betrothed to a daughter of House Baratheon of Storm's End, Duncan became enamored of a strange, lovely, and mysterious girl who called herself Jenny of Oldstones in 239 AC whilst traveling in the Riverlands. Though she dwelt half wild amidst ruins and claimed descent from the long-vanished kings of the First Men, the small folk of surrounding villages mocked such tales, insisting that she was only some half-mad peasant girl and perhaps even a witch. Duncan is actually Prince Duncan Targaryen. He is Aegon's heir. He falls in love with Jenny and casts his crown aside for love. Jenny comes to court and she brings with her the ghost of Highheart, the woods witch whom I believe whispered her dreams in the ears of Aegon to get him to try to hatch dragons. Duncan would not budge. Rather than give up Jenny, he forswore his claim to the crown in favor of his brother Jaehaerys and abdicated as Prince of Dragonstone. So they tried to convince him to leave Jenny alone. They tried to make him leave Jenny alone. They had councils and meetings with the Septon, but he would not give up Jenny. And this quote from A Dance with Dragons seems to make it clear that the union of Prince of Dragonflies and Lady Jenny burned House Targaryen almost to the ground. The Prince of Dragonflies loved Jenny of Oldstones so much he cast aside a crown, and Westeros paid the bride price in corpses. All 3 of the sons of the 5th Aegon had wed for love, in defiance of their father's wishes, and because that unlikely monarch had himself followed his heart when he chose his queen, he allowed his sons to have their way, making bitter enemies where he might have had fast friends. Treason and turmoil followed as night follows day, ending at Summerhall in sorcery, fire, and grief. The beginning of this very quote draws a parallel between Rhaegar and Lyanna to Jenny and Duncan. Rhaegar loved his lady Lyanna, and thousands died for it. It also compares the love triangle between Bittersteel, Bloodraven, and Sheer Seastar. Also, Daemon Blackfyre and the first Daenerys. This entire quote sums up the meaning of not only Jenny's song, but the cost of love. Love and tragedy. Love and duty. And what love cost all of them in the end. And it's very interesting because it is in the beginning of the quote that Sir Barristan the Bold is talking about Daenerys needing to leave Daario behind. Better for Daenerys and for Westeros. Daenerys Targaryen loved her captain, but that was the girl in her, not the queen. Daenerys lets Daario go in season 6 when she makes her way to Westeros, and she does this because she knows she's going to need to make alliances. Daenerys can easily let Daario go for Westeros, but Daenerys didn't love Daario like she loves Jon. Daenerys tells Sansa she only loved one other man the way she loves Jon, and that was called Drogo. Daenerys will not let Jon go just like that. She loves him. She didn't even let Drogo die. She tried to bring him back from the dead. So no, I don't think that Daenerys would let Jon go. But does Jon have a duty to take his rightful spot on the throne and not rip the kingdoms apart by them being together in this incestual marriage? I don't think Jon will let Daenerys go either, guys. Jon will cast aside his crown for her. He already has. Duty be damned. It was the brother of Egg, Maester Aemon, that told Jon so long ago, "For love is the bane of honor, the death of duty." This conversation leads to Maester Aemon questioning Jon about Ned and Jon questioning Ned's honor. Then Lord Eddard is a man in 10,000. Most of us are not so strong. What is honor compared to a woman's love? What is duty against the feel of a newborn son in your arms, or the memory of a brother's smile? Wind and words. We're only human, and the gods have fashioned us for love. That is our great glory and our great tragedy. So at the heart of it, Jon and Daenerys will choose each other no matter the cost. And that is Jenny's song. But it's also another song. There was one Targaryen couple that did marry for love against the wishes of everyone, and that was a good marriage that didn't end in tragedy. King Jaehaerys and good Queen Alysanne. I've talked about this a lot. Jon and Dany being the new world Jaehaerys and Alysanne. Even the images of Jon and Daenerys riding the dragons in the north side by side remind me of Queen Alysanne and Jaehaerys. I even went as far as to say that Arya will be Daenerys' Jonquil Dark. King Jaehaerys and Queen Alysanne married in a secret ceremony on Dragonstone, reconciled the kingdom, and had a long, peaceful reign. They had many children and grandchildren, and for the most part, a happy life. Queen Alysanne and Daenerys have a lot in common, especially their views on men not being favored over women, which is another big theme in that scene where Brienne is being knighted, which is only supposed to be done for men. I think this could be foreshadowing for Daenerys and Jon, King Aegon and good Queen Daenerys. But you still can't help but think, with the knighting of Brienne and the callbacks to Summerhall, that something tragic is in the works. We don't know specifically what happened at Summerhall, but we do know that wildfire is what caused Summerhall to burn. We know right now in the current story, wildfire is in play. And also, when we speak of governance and political beliefs, there is no one in this story more like Egg currently than Daenerys Targaryen. Egg died a wildfiery death. And to be honest, I fear for Daenerys at this moment. But I wonder, with all of the callbacks to Summerhall, Sir Duncan the Tall, love and tragedy, could there be some huge wildfire event in which Brienne saves Daenerys and Jon, ensuring the continuance of House Targaryen, just like her ancestor Sir Duncan the Tall did? And then the pages on the White Book would read, Sir Brienne of Tarth, knighted by Sir Jaime Lannister before the Battle of Winterfell, House Targaryen would have been lost to wildfire, if not for the valor of Sir Brienne of Tarth, a knight in the Seven Kingdoms. At this time, I would like to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video. If you don't know what Squarespace is, it's an all-in-one platform to build your website. Whatever you need to build a website for, they got you. They have designer templates, 24-hour customer service. It's easy, easy. If I can do it, then you can do it. Whether you need a domain, a website, or an online store, make it with Squarespace. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/great gray area to save 10% off your first purchase. The link will be in the description box. But what do you think about Jenny's song, Brienne being knighted, and all of those echoes of Summerhall? As always, thanks for watching. Thanks to everyone that supports me on Patreon. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please click that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and join the sweet summer family. Okay, my sweet summer children, have a good day.